heard of Colonel Walter E. Kurtz. Your mission is to terminate the Colonel's command.
Terminate. Terminate with extreme prejudice.
Introduction. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola, Apocalypse Now is a cinematic classic revered for its captivating visuals and intellectually stimulating narrative. In this gripping war epic, Coppola plunges audiences into the heart of the Vietnam War, following Captain Willard on a perilous mission, venturing into Cambodia to confront Colonel Kurtz, whose descent into madness has led him to establish his own renegade operation. In the anthology of moments which form this narrative, Coppola exposes the ironies of the Vietnam War and Western imperialism thereafter. Moreover, his depiction of war portrays the horrors and madness of this age-old behavior in the modern world and the death of innocence as the consequence thereafter. These themes are emphatically covered in the film's resolution, a scene titled Terminating Command. Within, the culmination of Willard's character arc exposes the horrors of the war and positions audiences to realize Kurtz as a victim of war despite being heralded as the crazy antagonist. Ironies of the American involvement in the Vietnam War. Throughout Apocalypse Now, Coppola explores the ironies of the Vietnam War and Western imperialism through the surreal encounter between Captain Willard and Colonel Kurtz. Beyond the ironies of the situation and context itself, where Willard is mustering up the strength and psyche to terminate one of his own in a war against another, Kurtz reveals the hypocrisies of the war by professing with Willard,
"We train young men to drop fire on people, but their commanders won't allow them to write fuck on their airplane because it's obscene."
The monologue from Kurtz impacts audiences' perspective on not only Kurtz's mind, which appears rational amidst the chaos he lives, but the entire war. Indeed, audiences may believe that he has become enlightened to the situation. Death of innocence is expressed through juxtaposition and the symbolism of the buffalo. Moreover, Coppola masterfully employs juxtaposition and symbolism to convey the theme of the death of innocence, particularly through the parallelism between the slaughter of Colonel Kurtz and the buffalo. Through cinematic techniques such as cinematography and soundtrack, Coppola accentuates the tragic death of innocence in the war. Kurtz emerges as a symbol of the innocence corrupted by the brutality of war. Despite his actions and descent into madness, Kurtz is ultimately portrayed as a victim of the conflict, a man driven to extremes by the horrors he has witnessed and participated in. His innocence lies in his victimhood, as he becomes a product of the war machine that consumes both body and soul. This innocence is starkly contrasted with the imagery of the buffalo, a majestic creature slaughtered in the film's final moments. The buffalo serves as a poignant symbol of innocence and purity, a creature thrust into the chaos of the war against its will. Like Kurtz, the buffalo is a victim of circumstances beyond its control, forced to confront its own mortality in a world consumed by violence and destruction. Coppola utilizes cinematography to emphasize the parallelism between Kurtz and the buffalo, employing jump match cuts to link their fates. The rapid shift between scenes creates a sense of disorientation and unease, underscoring the interconnectedness of their destinies. Through this comparison, Coppola invites the audience to reflect on the tragic irony of innocence sacrificed in the pursuit of power and dominance. Furthermore, the soundtrack enhances the impact of the scene, heightening the sense of death of innocence. The mournful strains of music underscore the sense of loss and tragedy, amplifying the audience's emotional response to the unfolding events. By integrating sound and imagery, Coppola creates a multi-sensory experience that immerses the viewer in the existential despair of the characters. Through cinematic techniques such as cinematography and soundtrack, Coppola invites the audience to confront the profound moral complexities of the human condition, leaving a haunting impression that lingers long after the credits roll. Horrors and madness of the Vietnam War. Coppola skillfully portrays the theme of the horrors and madness of the Vietnam War through a combination of cinematography, dialogue, and symbolism. The dark lighting used in the scene serves as a visual metaphor for the moral darkness and existential despair that pervades the war-torn landscape, enveloping the characters in an atmosphere of foreboding and dread, as Colonel Kurtz delivers his final monologue, uttering to Willard,
"Horror. The horror."
Coppola captures the essence of the war's brutality and senselessness. Kurtz's words serve as a chilling indictment of the atrocities committed in the name of military conquest, reflecting on the depths of human depravity unleashed in the crucible of war. Moreover, the allegory between the radio used by the PBR crew, referred to as Almighty, and the notion of being in hell adds to the allegorical significance of the scene, of the compound as hell itself, which God is calling them to return from. The radio's name suggests a sense of divinity as the crew navigates through the inferno of the Vietnam War, grappling with the moral ambiguity of their actions. Similarly, this mise-en-scène serves to underscore the existential crisis faced by the characters as they confront the stark reality of their existence in a world devoid of meaning or purpose. Additionally, the use of sound design enhances the atmosphere of dread and chaos in the final scene, immersing the audience in the visceral experience of war. Conclusion.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
In conclusion, Apocalypse Now stands as a powerful testament to the enduring legacy of the Vietnam War and its profound impact on the human psyche within such a reality. Through its exploration of horror, madness, irony, and the loss of innocence, Coppola's masterpiece forces audience to confront the darkest aspects of human nature and the moral complexities of war,